Welcome to the Nicole Chenard Show, where we reclaim the body as a portal to power and remember that nourishment is how we lead, heal, and rise. I'm Nicole Chenard, dietitian, performance coach, and speaker. I'm here to translate what's going on in the world of health, nutrition, food politics, and human behavior. Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm Nicole Chenard, and today's episode is personal. I'm going to take you back to when I was 22 years old, driving from Boston, Massachusetts, to the southernmost tip of Texas, to a city I had barely heard of on the border of Mexico. This city is McAllen, Texas. In 2010, it had just been labeled the most obese city in America, and I had signed up to serve there through AmeriCorps. I was assigned as a wellness coordinator at IDEA Public Schools, a public charter school system on the border of Texas and Mexico. And I had no idea how that year would shape the rest of my life. But I did know how badly I needed to get as far away from my hometown, Needham, Massachusetts, as possible, as soon as possible, because it was sucking the life force out of me. We don't always know what we want, but if you ask someone who doesn't know what they want, what they don't want, they always know. Just for context, the drive from Boston, Massachusetts to McAllen, Texas is 2,194 miles. It took a while to get there, and I almost didn't do it, and I almost died on the way there, just trying to get there. McAllen sits in the Rio Grande Valley. It's wicked hot, wicked humid, and wicked flat. It's visible. It's literally like going downtown and looking across the Charles River from Boston to Cambridge, size-wise. And the US-Mexico border is not theoretical. At the time, national headlines were shaming the city. Most obese city in America. Unhealthy lifestyles. Poor food choices. But what I saw on the ground was different. I saw food deserts, generational poverty, parents working multiple jobs. Cultural food traditions misunderstood by outsiders, kids who were brilliant, warm, funny, and wildly resilient, and a lack of infrastructure. And I realized very quickly, obesity was not a willpower problem. It was a systems problem. My role there was wellness coordinator for IDEA Public Schools. And I'll explain what AmeriCorps is. AmeriCorps is a federal agency for national service and volunteerism in the United States to tackle challenges like education, disaster response, and poverty. And members serve 10 to 12 months with nonprofits or public agencies. It's kind of like domestic Peace Corps is how I usually describe it, except it is different. My job was to teach nutrition and health to students, parents, and staff, create wellness programming for students, parents, and staff, and improve physical activity participation. Support families, build a culture of health. It's all simple on paper, but complex in reality. We weren't just trying to get kids to eat more vegetables. That was a big part of it. But we were working against economic barriers, marketing from ultra-processed food corporations, cultural narratives, lack of basic infrastructure, miscommunication, weather, and more. And here's what changed me. The kids didn't need lectures. They needed leadership. They needed someone who believed in them more than the statistics did, or the media. They needed people like me and my colleagues to volunteer after their volunteer jobs to teach them how to cook their own tacos after school in their math classroom with me and Mr. McClarney, so they wouldn't go to the convenience store after school and get recruited to a gang. The moment it clicked, there was a day, there's more than one moment, but I'll never forget this conversation. I remember it vividly, where I was having a heated discussion, literally it was so hot, with a teacher about what the kids really needed. I think I had been complaining about the emphasis of the history of Dr. Pepper that I saw on the wall in the hallway of the school we were visiting. It was about the significant history of Texas, one of those timelines with dates, and it included Dr. Pepper. And he took me aside and said, "Chenard, you're still not getting it. You keep telling the kids they need to run 5Ks outside after school, and there's no sidewalks here. It's 110 degrees. There's gangs all over the place. Everyone drives a truck. There's no safe place for kids to run after school. That moment cracked something open in me because I actually understood what he was saying for once. We can't preach discipline to people who are navigating scarcity. We have to consider and redesign environments to set people up for success. That was the beginning of my systems thinking brain turning on. What McAllen taught me about leadership: one, you can't shame people into health. Two, behavior change requires dignity. Three, environment shapes physiology. Four, stress is metabolic, and a lot of other things. And five, community and being seen and heard, not just dictated to, matters more than macros. That year is when I stopped seeing behavior change through the lens of a privileged New Englander from Needham, Mass. And I started integrating the power of perspective. It's not just about access, identity, nervous system regulation, or generational change. It's about boots on the ground. It was also the first time I saw how stress alters the body in real time. Chronic cortisol, sleep deprivation, inflammation, emotional eating and drinking, years later became foundational in the resiliency work built for elite operators and executives. The border taught me performance physiology before I had language for it. Living in McAllen transformed me. I was, like I said before, more than 2,000 miles from home, financially stretched, emotionally stretched, confronted with inequity and discrimination daily. But I also felt the most alive I had ever felt, purposeful. I felt useful. I felt valued. That's when I realized something about myself. I don't want to work where things are easy. I want to work where transformation is necessary. That pattern followed me. Hospital systems, special forces programs, executives under extreme pressure. And just to emphasize the extreme pressure I have been able to undergo and understand, I will slightly elaborate on a huge part of my career that began not too long after my return to Boston from McAllen. For the better part of a decade, I played a leadership role in the development of a longitudinal resiliency program for the Central Intelligence Agency's Special Activities Center, addressing performance across the full operational life cycle, physical, behavioral, and neurobiological. Different zip codes, completely different populations, but the type of need was the same. Same stress physiology, same need for leadership, same nervous system story. Both roles resulting in complete transformation. And when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, no matter how much it wants to, it can never fit back into the familiar chrysalis. The US-Mexico border taught me something else. There is always a visible boundary and an invisible one. The visible boundary was the physical border. The invisible boundary, beliefs about what is possible. The students were told statistically what they would become. But inside those classrooms, there was brilliance. And that experience formed a belief I carry into every room. Potential is rarely the problem. Environment is. It's like that saying, if you tell a fish to climb a tree, it's gonna spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. Why does this story matter now? If you're listening to this and you feel stuck in a system, you feel judged by numbers, you're labeled by statistics, you're trying to change behavior under stress, I want you to hear this. Your physiology makes sense. Your behavior makes sense. And sustainable change starts with redesigning your environment, inside and outside your body. McAllen didn't just teach me about obesity. It taught me about power structures, nervous systems, leadership, and powerful life-changing transformation through risk. And it's one of the reasons I do the work I do today. Because whether it's a 12-year-old in the Rio Grande Valley or a CEO running a $1 billion company, health is never just about food. It's about safety, agency, and leadership. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If this resonated, share it with someone who believes behavior change is more than willpower. If you'd like to explore more about me, visit my website, NicoleChenard.com, and follow me on Instagram at Nicole.Chenard. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. And the best compliment, as always, is when you tell me what you think about the show in the comments or in person. It all helps. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.